Wow, welcome. This is a place for stories and quiet moments. Sit with us and listen.
In the quiet town of Unobi, where the roads were red with laterite and the evenings smelled like roasted corn and rain, there lived a woman named Amara. Amara was not famous. She did not have a loud laugh that turned heads or clothes that shouted money. She was the kind of woman people noticed only when they needed something done well. If you needed a dress sewn urgently, Amara would finish it before dawn. If your child fell sick and you had no one to help you through the night, Amara would sit by your door with hot water and prayers. If the church needed someone to sweep before service, Amara would arrive before the cock crowed. She was that kind of person. And because she was that kind of person, life had taught her how to endure without complaining. Amara sold fabrics and small sewing materials in a tiny shop that leaned slightly to one side, right beside the bus stop. Her shop was not big, but it was always neat. Buttons arranged by color, thread stacked like tiny towers, needles kept in a tin, measuring tapes hanging like ribbons. Most days, she made enough to feed herself and her son. His name was Kene. Kene was 13, tall for his age, with eyes that carried both innocence and a seriousness that did not belong to children. He was the type of boy who asked questions that made adults uncomfortable. Mama, he would say sometimes, why do people smile in public and bite in private? And Amara would pause because how do you explain life to someone who still believed it could be fair? She would wipe her hands on her wrapper and say, because some people are hungry inside. When the hunger is inside, it can make the mouth behave badly. Kene would nod like he understood, but his eyes always looked like he wanted to understand more. Amara's husband had died when Kene was a baby. A quiet sickness that took him faster than anyone expected. One day he was there, the next day he was gone, and before Amara's tears could even dry, her husband's family returned like vultures that smelled weakness. They did not come to comfort. They came to collect. They carried chairs. They carried a radio. They carried the only fan in the room. They carried the wrapper Amara's husband used as a blanket. Amara begged. She cried. She carried Kene on her back and knelt on the floor until her knees ached. But grief does not soften greedy hearts. It sharpens them. In the end, Amara left their compound with nothing but a bag of clothes, a crying baby, and a heart that had been forced to become strong. That was how she came to Unobi. That was how her life became the kind of life where you wake up each morning and negotiate survival with your own breath. Still, Amara never turned bitter. She worked, she prayed, she built a small life with her hands. And Kene grew. People in the neighborhood admired her, not because she was rich, but because she was steady. But there was someone who watched Amara's steadiness with a different kind of eye. Her name was Ifunanya. Ifunanya lived 2 houses away. She was in her late 30s, heavy on makeup, light on kindness. She sold cosmetics and hair attachments, and she had a way of talking that made it sound like she was always doing you a favor, even when she was insulting you. She never married, not because she did not want to, but because every time someone came close, her character chased them away like smoke chasing mosquitoes. Ifunanya loved 2 things in life, money and attention. And Amara's quiet respect from the neighborhood irritated her the way smoke irritates eyes. See this one, Ifunanya would used to her friends, acting like saints. Meanwhile she is just managing. But deep down, it was not the managing that annoyed her. It was Kene, because Kene was brilliant. In school, he was always among the best. Teachers praised him, pastors used him as an example. Even the women who sold akara would say, that's Amara's boy, God's hand is on him. Ifunanya heard those praises and felt something twist inside her. Because she had a nephew, Chukudi, whom she sponsored. Chukudi was her pride, her trumpet, her project. She wanted him to be the one everyone praised. But Chukudi was lazy. He loved playing football more than reading. He loved gossip more than books. And whenever Kene beat him in class, Ifunanya would come home and act like she had swallowed pepper. Is it not because that woman is doing something? She would say, cursing her sitting room. How can her son always pass my nephew? Then one day, news came that changed the air in the whole neighborhood. A scholarship. A big scholarship. A foreign one. One of those scholarships people only hear about on radio and assume it is for other people, not for children who sell thread beside the road. A private foundation was offering it to the best students in the local government. Full tuition, full accommodation, even travel expenses. And when the list of top candidates came out, Kin's name was there. Not only there, at the top, Amara's hands shook when she held the paper. Her eyes filled with tears that were not pain this time, but relief. For the first time in many years, she could see a door opening. A real door, not the type that leads to another problem. A door that led to a different life. She carried the paper like a newborn baby and ran to her shop, her breath catching in her throat. That evening, she cooked rice, something she had not done in months, because rice was a luxury in her world. Kene came home and paused at the smell. "Mama, who is doing wedding in our house?" Amara laughed, wiped her tears, and held his face in her hands. "My son," she whispered, "God is remembering us." She told him about the scholarship. Kene stared at her like someone hearing thunder. Then he smiled, a slow smile, a smile that looked like sunrise. And for that night the room felt lighter. Even the walls seemed to breathe better. But while joy was rising in Amara's house, jealousy was growing teeth in another. Ifunanya heard about the scholarship the same way gossip travels faster than motorcycles. She did not even wait for confirmation. She marched to Amara's shop the next morning, smiling too widely, like a person whose teeth did not match her heart. "Amara, congratulations." "Oh." Amara greeted her politely, because that was her nature. "Thank you, my sister." Ifunanya leaned closer, eyes sparkling with something that was not happiness. "So it is your boy that is going abroad?" "By God's grace," Amara said softly. Ifunanya laughed. God's grace is doing wonders for people." Amara's spirit pinched slightly at the tone, but she ignored it. Ifunanya picked a roll of thread, turned it, and dropped it. "So when is the interview?" "Next month," Amara replied. Ifunanya nodded, then smiled again. "Well, tell your boy to be careful. These big things sometimes attract evil eye." Amara smiled politely, but Ifunanya's words entered her chest like cold water. That afternoon, Amara went to meet her pastor. Not because she believed in fear, but because she believed in covering. The pastor prayed with her and said, "Madam Amara, don't let anybody intimidate you. Your son's star is shining. People don't like other people's light." Amara nodded. She returned home and held Kene close that night. "My son," she said, "until you travel, you will not follow anybody anywhere. Not even to play. You hear me?" Kene laughed. "Mama, I am not small again." Amara's eyes became serious. In this life, even big people can be small in the hands of wickedness. "Promise me." Kene promised. For a while, things stayed calm. Kene focused on his preparations. He studied day and night. He practiced speaking English well. He did mock interviews with his teacher. Amara started saving small money for his new clothes and documents. Hope moved around their house like a gentle spirit. Then the first strange thing happened. One evening, Kene returned from school, dropped his bag, and sat down quietly. Amara noticed immediately. Her son was not quiet like that. He was always talking, always asking questions, always telling her about something he saw or learned. "Kene," she asked gently, "what is it?" Kene looked up slowly. "Mama," he said, voice flat, "do you think people can hate you for no reason?" Amara's heart beat once hard. "Why are you asking?" Kene hesitated. Then he said, "Auntie Ifunanya met me on the road. She told me she knows people in that scholarship place. She said if I want to make sure I get it, I should come to her house so she can guide me." Amara felt her throat tighten. "And you said what?" "I told her I will ask you first," Kene replied. Amara stood up so quickly her chair scraped the floor. She walked to Kene and held his shoulders. "Listen to me carefully. You will never enter that woman's house for anything. Do you understand?" Kene blinked. "Mama, why?" Amara struggled to choose her words. "Because what do you tell a child about envy? What do you tell a child about people who smile and still plan?" She breathed and said, "Because not everybody who says, 'I want to help you,' wants to help you." Kene nodded slowly. Amara hugged him. But after that day, she began to watch the road more. She began to listen more. She began to pray harder. Then the second strange thing happened. One morning, the scholarship office called. Amara answered with trembling hands. The man on the phone sounded confused. Madam Amara, we received an email from this number saying your son has withdrawn from the scholarship process. Amara nearly dropped the phone. Withdraw? My son? No, my son cannot withdraw. There was a pause. Madam, are you sure? The email came with a scanned letter, signature, everything. Amara's body went cold. No, sir, she said, forcing calm. That is not from us. Please, we are still interested. The man hesitated. Okay, then you need to come to the office tomorrow morning with your son to confirm in person. Amara thanked him and ended the call. Then she sat on the floor. For a full minute, she just sat. Her mind tried to catch up with her body. Who would do that? Who would forge a withdrawal letter? Who would want to pull her son down? She did not need to guess. Because in her spirit, one face rose like smoke. Ifunanya. Amara stood up, washed her face, and went to Kene. My son, she said quietly, somebody is fighting your future. Ken's eyes widened. What happened? Amara told him. Kene clenched his fists. Mama, why would someone do that? Amara's voice broke slightly. Because some people are allergic to other people's breakthrough. That night Amara could not sleep. She lay down, but her mind was standing. At midnight, she heard a knock. Soft, gentle, the kind of knock that tries not to wake neighbors. Amara's heart jumped. She rose and looked through the small window. A shadow, a female shadow. She did not open. Who is that? She asked. A familiar voice answered sweetly. Amara, it's me, Ifunanya. Open small. Amara's stomach tightened. What is it? She asked through the door. Ifunanya laughed softly. My sister, I just came to greet. I had small misunderstanding about scholarship. I want to advise you. Amara's voice stayed firm. I am sleeping. Good night. Ifunanya's tone changed slightly. Amara, don't be proud. If you don't know how to play this life, you will lose. Amara felt heat rise in her chest. Madame Ifunanya, she said, please leave my door. There was silence. Then Ifunanya spoke quieter now, like poison poured gently. You think because your son is bright, he will escape this world. He will learn. Amara's hands shook. Leave my door, she repeated. Ifunanya laughed one last time and walked away. Amara leaned on the door, breathing hard. Kene had woken up. Mama, he called from inside. Amara swallowed her fear. Go back to sleep, she said softly. Everything is fine. But everything was not fine. The next day, Amara and Kene went to the scholarship office. They confirmed in person. The staff apologized. They reset his application. They scheduled his final interview. As they were leaving, a woman approached them. She wore simple clothes, but her eyes were sharp and observant. Excuse me, the woman said. Are you Madame Amara? Amara nodded cautiously. My name is Mrs. Uwanko, the woman said. I work with the foundation. Amara's heart beat faster. Mrs. Uwanko lowered her voice. I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm saying it because I've watched your son's record. He deserves this. Someone has been trying to sabotage him. Amara felt tears prick her eyes. Mrs. Uwanko continued, we traced the email source. It's not from your house. It came from a cyber cafe near your market. The person used a fake name. Amara's mouth went dry. Madam, she whispered, what should I do? Mrs. Uwanko looked at Kene, then back at Amara. Protect your son. Keep him close. And on the day of the interview, come early. Don't allow any last-minute confusion. Amara nodded repeatedly. She wanted to hug the woman. But she only managed to say, God bless you. On their way home, Kene walked silently. Then he said, Mama, are we safe? Amara wanted to say yes. But she could not lie. So she said, we will be safe if we stay wise. The interview day came like a storm cloud. Amara did not even wait for morning. She woke Kene at 4 a.m. They dressed quietly. They left the house before the road fully woke up. They arrived at the scholarship office early, as advised. They sat. They waited. King's interview time came. He entered. Amara held her breath. Minutes felt like years. Then Kene came out. His face was calm, but his eyes shone. Mama, he whispered, I did well. Amara held his hand and prayed silently. 2 weeks later, the letter came. Kene had won. He had won fully. He would travel in 2 months. Amara screamed, not a small scream, the kind of scream that releases years of trapped pain. Neighbors rushed in, thinking something terrible happened, only to find Amara crying with joy, shaking the letter like it was a flag of victory. Even people who did not like her had to clap. Even people who envied her had to pretend. But Ifunanya did not clap. She did not even pretend. She locked herself in her room for 2 days. Then on the 3rd day, she came out, quiet and smiling in a new way. A calm, controlled smile. The kind of smile that looks like surrender, but is actually planning. That evening, she visited Amara with a plastic bag. Inside were small gifts, biscuits, a bottle of malt, a new shirt for Kene. Amara's mind screamed danger, but her neighbors were watching. And Ifunanya spoke loudly, making sure everyone heard. My sister, forgive me for any misunderstanding. We are all one. I came to support you. Amara looked at her. The old Amara would have accepted and moved on because she believed peace was better than war. But motherhood changes. You can changes you. Amara smiled politely and said, thank you. But she did not touch the bag. Ifunanya's eyes narrowed slightly. You will not collect. Amara's smile remained. I appreciate it, but my heart is full already. Ifunanya forced a laugh. Ah, so you are doing big, madam, now. Amara's voice stayed calm. No, I just prefer to keep things simple. Ifunanya dropped the bag on the table, stood up, and left. That night, Amara prayed longer than she had ever prayed. Not loud prayers, quiet ones. The prayers that come from a place where you know the enemy is near, but you are holding onto God's garment. Then, 2 nights later, something happened that almost destroyed everything. Kene fell sick. Not the normal fever that comes and goes. This one came like a sudden darkness. His body became hot. His eyes became dull. He started muttering words that did not make sense. Amara panicked. She carried him and ran to the clinic. The nurse checked him and frowned. This is not ordinary malaria, she said. They ran tests. The results came back confusing. Nothing clear, but Kene kept getting worse. By morning, he was weak like a candle that had almost finished burning. Amara held him and cried. She called her pastor. She called her neighbors. People came. They prayed. They suggested. Some whispered things they were afraid to say loudly. Maybe it is spiritual. Amara did not want to hear that. But when a mother has tried everything and her child is still sleeping, she starts listening to even the things that scare her. A woman from the church, Mama Ngozi, came that afternoon. She was old, respected, the type that speaks small but sees deep. She entered the room, looked at Kene, then looked at Amara. Amara, she said softly, who entered your house recently with gifts? Amara's breath caught. She remembered the malt, the biscuits, the shirt, but she did not take them. Still, they were in her house. On her table, like a sealed envelope of trouble. Mama, Amara whispered. Ifunanya came. Mama Ngozi nodded slowly. Bring that bag. Amara brought it. Mama Ngozi touched the shirt, then the malt, then the biscuits. Her eyes hardened. This is not ordinary gift. Amara's knees nearly gave way. What do you mean? Mama Ngozi looked at her. Some gifts are ropes. They come smiling, but they tie your future. Amara's hands trembled. Mama, what do I do? Mama Ngozi did not shout. She did not dramatize. She simply said, take this out of your house now. Amara ran outside, carried the bag like it was fire, and threw it into the refuse pit far behind the compound. Mama Ngozi returned inside and prayed over Kene, speaking with authority and calm. Amara watched, crying silently. Then Mama Ngozi said, now take him to the teaching hospital. Let doctors do their part and let God finish the rest. They rushed Kene to the teaching hospital. This time, a senior doctor checked him thoroughly and asked many questions. Then he paused and said something that shocked Amara. Madam, your son has been exposed to a toxic substance. Amara's eyes widened. Toxic? How? The doctor shook his head. It could be contaminated food, drink, or contact with something treated with chemicals. We will start treatment immediately. Amara felt her legs weaken. She sat down, holding her head. The nurse brought medicine. They inserted drip. They monitored him. Hours passed. By evening, King's eyes opened properly. He looked at Amara and whispered, "Mama." Amara grabbed his hand like someone grabbing life itself. My son, my son." Kenneth swallowed. "My head is clear now," he said weakly. Amara cried until her chest hurt. The doctor later explained that if they had come later, it could have turned fatal. Amara thanked God until her voice became hoarse. But her relief did not erase one truth. Someone tried to stop King's future. Not with gossip, not with cyber cafe tricks. With something deeper, something dangerous. When Kenny recovered enough to go home, Amara sat with him that night and told him everything. She did not hide it. Because hiding it would only make him naive. And naivety is expensive. Kenny listened quiet. Then he said, "Mama, what will we do?" Amara stared at the wall for a long time. Then she said, "We will do what light does. We will expose darkness." The next morning, Amara went to Mrs. Uwankwo, the foundation woman. She told her about the sabotage attempts, about the sick episode, about the gifts. Mrs. Uwankwo listened, face tightening. Then she said, "Madam Amara, this has gone beyond scholarship matters. But I can help you in one way." "How?" Amara asked. Mrs. Uwankwo leaned forward. "If you are sure about this woman, we can involve community police. But you must be careful. Accusations without proof can turn against you." Amara swallowed. Proof. That was the problem. In a world where wickedness wears gloves, how do you collect fingerprints? Amara returned home and sat quietly. Then she remembered something. The cyber cafe. If they traced the withdrawal email to a cafe, maybe the cafe had cameras. Maybe. Hope rose like a small flame. Amara went to the cafe owner, a young man called Sly. At first, he was defensive. "Madam, I don't want trouble." Amara looked him in the eye. "My son almost died. I'm not looking for gossip. I'm looking for truth." Sly hesitated. Then he sighed. "I remember that day," he said. "A woman came. She was not the one typing. She gave instructions to a boy." Amara's heart jumped. "What woman?" Sly described her. Amara felt cold. "It was Ifunanya. Do you have camera?" Amara asked quickly. Sly scratched his head. "We have, but it's not always working. Please check," Amara begged. Sly went to his computer, clicked around, and after some minutes, he found it. A blurry video, but clear enough. A woman in bright blouse. Big earrings. The way she walked. The way she pointed. Amara knew that walk. She knew those earrings. It was Ifunanya. Amara's chest tightened. Sly looked at her. "Madam, should I send it?" Amara nodded, tears in her eyes. Yes. That night, Amara took the evidence to the community police. They listened. They watched. They called Ifunanya for questioning. Ifunanya arrived wearing confidence like perfume. She laughed. "This is jealousy," she said. "Amara is just pained because people love me." The officer did not argue. He played the video. Ifunanya's smile froze. For the first time, her mouth did not have words. She stammered, That is not me." The officer zoomed in. Her face, her earrings, her voice faintly heard. Ifunanya's knees shook. Then she did what guilty people do when truth enters the room. She shifted the blame. "It was for my nephew," she cried suddenly. "I wanted him to win. I didn't want my nephew to suffer." The officer's face remained hard. "So you forged withdrawal letters and attempted to sabotage a child's future." Ifunanya started crying. Real tears now, not the drama ones, the desperate ones. Amara stood there watching her. Not with joy, not with pride, but with a mother's tiredness. Because she did not want revenge. She just wanted her son to live. In the end, Ifunanya was charged for fraud and forgery. But because this world is not always fair, she begged, pleaded, used connections, and eventually got bail. Yet the damage was done. Her name was no longer sweet in the neighborhood. People avoided her. they whispered when she passed. Even her nephew, Chukwudi, stopped greeting her confidently. Because Shem has a way of making people suddenly remember morals. 2 months later, Kenneth traveled. The day he entered the plane, Amara stood at the airport and watched him disappear into the crowd. Her heart was breaking and healing at the same time. Kenneth hugged her tightly before he left. "Mama," he whispered, "I will make you proud." Amara smiled through tears. "My son," she replied, "you already did." When the plane took off, Amara felt something she had not felt in years. Peace. Not the kind that comes because life is perfect. The kind that comes because you fought and did not die. She returned to Munobi. She reopened her shop. She continued her life. But now, her posture had changed. Not with pride, with strength. Because she had seen what envy could do. And she had survived it. Months passed. Then one day Amara received a call from an unknown number. She answered, a woman's voice. Soft, tired. "Amara, it is me." Amara recognized it immediately. "Ifunanya." Amara's body stiffened. "What do you want?" she asked. There was silence. Then Ifunanya spoke, voice trembling. "I am not calling to fight." Amara did not reply. Ifunanya continued, almost whispering. "My life has scattered. My shop is empty. People avoid me. Even my nephew hates me now. I did evil, and it returned to my head." Amara closed her eyes. Ifunanya's voice broke. "I want to ask, is your son okay?" Amara's throat tightened. "Yes," she said quietly. "He is okay." Ifunanya exhaled like someone releasing a stone from her chest. "Thank God." Amara remained silent. Then Ifunanya said something Amara did not expect. "I wanted to bury his light because mine was not shining. But now I understand, darkness never becomes light by killing another candle." Amara felt tears rise again, but these ones were different. Not tears of pain, tears of realization. Because sometimes the greatest victory is not seeing your enemy suffer. It is seeing them finally understand. Ifunanya whispered, "I am sorry." Amara's voice came slowly. "I forgive you." Ifunanya sobbed, "Thank you." But Amara added, firm and calm, "Forgiveness is free. But trust is not cheap. Don't come near my life again." Ifunanya accepted it. "Yes," she said, "I understand." The call ended. Amara stared at her phone for a long time. Then she walked outside. The evening sun was soft. Children were playing. A woman was calling her child to come and eat. Life was moving, as it always does. Amara breathed deeply, and in that moment, she understood something that the world often forgets. A person can be poor and still be powerful. Not powerful by money, powerful by endurance, powerful by wisdom, powerful by refusing to become wicked even when wickedness knocks. 1 year later, Kenneth sent his first big gift. Not just money, a sewing machine, a new one, a modern one, the type Amara only saw in pictures. Along with it came a note. "Mama, you stitched my future with your prayers. Now let your hands rest a little." Amara cried. She hugged the machine like it was her child. Neighbors came to celebrate. Even strangers came to see. And Amara, the woman who once sold thread by the roadside, became a symbol. Not of wealth, of hope. Because her story said something loudly without shouting. That's when the world tries to silence your child, you don't beg the world. You protect your child. You stay wise. You keep moving. And you let God handle the parts you cannot reach. Some months after that, Amara saw Ifunanya at the market. Ifunanya looked smaller, not physically, but spiritually. The loudness had gone. The pride had melted. She saw Amara and stopped. For a moment, the market noise faded. Then Ifunanya bowed her head slightly. Amara nodded once. No fight, no insult, just two women standing in the truth of what life had taught them. Amara walked away, and as she walked, she remembered King's question from long ago. Why do people smile in public and bite in private? Now she had an answer that was complete. Because some people are hungry inside. But also because some people have not yet learned that another person's blessing does not remove their own. Life is not a one plate of food where if one person eats, another must starve. But envy makes it feel that way. And that is why envy destroys. Not the person it envies. It destroys the person carrying it. That was Amara's story. Not a story of magic. Not a story of perfect justice. A story of real life. Where evil tried, where truth fought back, where a mother refused to be intimidated, and where a boy's future survived the hands that tried to break it. Because sometimes destiny is not something you wait for. Sometimes destiny is something you defend. And if you are listening to this story and you have ever felt like the world is pressing you down, remember this. Your light is not a crime. Your progress is not an apology. And the people who try to stop you are only revealing one thing. They saw where you were going. They just didn't want you to reach there. But you will reach there. As long as you stay wise. As long as you stay steady. As long as you don't let fear make you careless. Because in the end, the road is not for the fastest. It is for the ones who refuse to stop walking. And that is the moral. Never let envy enter your heart. Never become the enemy of another person's breakthrough. And if you are the one being fought, remember this. Protection is not only prayer. It is also wisdom. It is also boundaries. It is also paying attention. Because God can fight for you. But you must not volunteer your future into the hands of your enemy. The end.